Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Peaceful Growth. I have a very special guest today with me. He's Vikas Singhal, CEO and founder of InstaWP and CEO and founder of Express Tech. Probably, if you are in the WordPress space, you must have experienced or encountered his product InstaWP, which is very popular among a lot of WordPress experts and agencies. And it's a great pleasure to have Vikas today. Hi, Vikas.
Hey, Anil. Thanks for having me over. And it's a pleasure to be on this podcast.
Yeah, it's an honor, Vikas. And let's start with your business story and journey about InstaWP.
Yeah. So to start with InstaWP, you have to go a little bit back.
Okay.
I entered into WordPress as a plugin owner. I obviously, like others, built a website for my brother, and then realized that WordPress, how big is WordPress? I've always been a programmer, and since I've been doing side projects as an entrepreneur while I was a kid. But when I discovered WordPress, and then I saw that you can actually do plugins and themes and whatnot. Then I realized, okay, I can actually build something. And at that time, I was doing flipping of businesses, online businesses, so buying and selling. And then somehow I took a shot, and then I bought a WordPress plugin, a security plugin. I have a security background, so I wanted to go into security first. And turns out that was my first plugin, and then doing a day job and then maintaining a plugin over past, let's say from 2017 or so, and up for next 2 to 3, 4 years, I built a plugin and theme company called Express Tech.
Let me interrupt you there. And one question I wanted to ask: why did you decide to buy a plugin instead of building your own?
That's a great question, because in the past, as I said, I have built several side projects. And while I was good at building stuff, I was not good at marketing. And one thing which I learned during flipping is that you can buy ready businesses with revenue from day one. And you don't even have to spend a lot of money to buy these businesses, right? It ranges from very small to very big. So you can decide where to go. And I found a sweet spot where the first business which I bought was about, I think it was doing about $1,000, $1,500 a month. And I got it for 1.5x of the revenue. I mean, yearly revenue. So that was my entry. And the reason why I bought it is, as I said, to get that revenue from day one. And I have a ready audience so that I can build product on top of that, instead of building from scratch. So that was the idea.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So continuing with the story, 4 years later, I have a thriving plugin company, 25 plus people, 10 plus plugin projects, all acquired, by the way.
We did. So you haven't built any of those plugins, all acquired. Love it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Everything was acquired. We did end up building a couple of products.
Yeah.
So a Google Form add-on and maybe a couple of plugins as well on top. But majority of our revenue comes from acquired plugins. And I also entered into Shopify apps world. So ran it for 2 years, flipped the businesses for 5x growth or 5x multiple of what I paid. And I mean Shopify app. If you remember that era, it's every 2-3 years there is a new era, right? So
correct.
I think 3-4 years ago, MicroAcquire launched, right? At that time, before MicroAcquire, that was the golden era of Shopify apps, where you can cold reach outs to. We can talk about how to do acquisitions and all, but when you do a cold reach out, a lot of Shopify app owners. I actually had a protocol on how to buy these businesses, right? I had a SOP, outreach template, and all that was set up for me. Because acquiring businesses and getting revenue and then building on top of it and then reselling it was an amazing business opportunity. And I think it still is right? So, but we can come back to that later. When so 2 years ago, I realized that means I wanted to build something from scratch because that was always an edge,
Mm,
and something big. And then I found a problem which can be solved, which was like quickly spinning up WordPress sites.
mm,
It was still a pain in what 2021 or whatever. So I thought let's build a side project. Let's see how it goes. And now I have like a little bit of marketing knowledge. I should build an audience first. I think that's what people say, right? Build an audience first.
right.
And I did that. So I built an MVP. I had a couple of developers from Upwork, build an MVP. And this time I did not do any coding myself. So that was also good because I could focus on marketing and whatever the organic growth of the company. And it was not a company, right? It was just a side project under Express Tech. And people actually loved it. There you go. So this is obviously after many, many iterations. But if you go long back, I don't know, archive dot, you will have the main landing page which we show to investors, and
Interesting. I
a
just
lot of
also
people actually.
sharing my screen quickly, so put it your InstaWP business here, so those who are watching this on a YouTube or something, and they can see a little bit about the business we are talking about.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so there you go. We are almost there. So 700,000 websites are now created with InstaWP in past 2 years, and we are now creating about 2,500 websites per day. And most of these, like 80% of these, are sandbox test sites. But
Mm,
now, when we started, and now we are actually moving into more serious businesses, meaning agencies, freelancers, WordPress experts can actually use this as a workflow tool, right? So when you are building sites, when you're building websites for clients, you can use InstaWP as your staging environment or a dev environment, and then you can move away from it using inbuilt migration tool. A lot of product companies use our software to demo their products. So that is another use case. So there are many use cases which we have found. So across the globe, means across like different personas. So it can be a product company or a developer or a hosting company. Everybody has become our customer. I mean, we want everybody, but almost like from every persona category, we have customers from there. Yeah.
I also wanted to add into and throw multi-dots and multi-collab as well, because the multi-dots is also one of the customer and of InstaWP, and
Good catch. I should put that. I should put that.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you can definitely put multi-dots here, and with multi-collab as well. I think we found a really interesting use case of we have a live demo of our plugin, and after talking to you and your team, we are right now in the process of trying to use InstaWP as a live demo instead of our custom tool that we have built. So
Yeah. Mhm.
one thing I wanted to quickly go back to. So this is the first business that you mentioned about Express Tech, right? That's where you had those plugins that you mentioned.
Yeah, so plugins, Shopify apps, Google Form add-on. So one of my primary goal, this is something I should actually speak about when you are
Mhm,
targeting like growth for your company, right?
mhm,
Um, one of the things which people make mistake, I will not say make mistake, but it's very risky, right? So when you are creating a new project, my goal was to ride on existing platforms, so such as WordPress, Shopify, G Suite, Webflow, you name it, right?
mm,
I wanted to actually get in and see what people are using as a platform and what people are building on top and what kind of problems they are having, right? So instead of building like let's say a SaaS from scratch, which is not built on a platform, it is like a standalone application, right? Marketing for that becomes really really difficult. Then you become like it's one in thousands and millions of softwares.
mm,
But when you build for a platform, you actually solve a particular use case, but at the same time, you have like a wide enough niche which you
mm,
can target. So Shopify apps, if you talk about Shopify apps, there are like only 5,000 apps at the time when we did Shopify apps. and one among 5,000 is very easy to stand out, right?
Hmm.
Um, Even for WordPress, people say that it's saturated, a lot of plugins, 60,000 plus plugins,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. But still, quality, how many quality plugins are out there? How many quality themes are out there?
Hmm.
And who is solving those unique challenges? For example, Multicollab, right? I think that is one of the unique plugin which you guys have built.
Hmm.
Not many are solving that kind of collaborative challenge. So there's still always going to be a problem to be solved.
Makes sense. No, I think you pointed it out and right that existing platform. If you build something on the existing platform, you have a lot of tailwind, right? Like there are already some platforms. Sorry, the platform itself is putting a lot of efforts, time, money in order to promote
Yeah, you're just riding
that.
on the wind,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So that
Riding on the wind. Exactly. So let me ask you one quick question here, and then we can go back again to the InstaWP. Is Express Tech, how big this business is right now? Is it still active, or if you can just tell a little bit about that?
yeah, it is super active. So, but what I do have is a very good team. And I have Varun, who is like heading almost entire thing. So I don't have to spend a lot of time in Express Tech anymore.
Hmm.
We have about 25, 30 people there. Mostly, so half of them is like plugin developers mostly, and then a marketing team and support team. So it's like a mini startup by itself, and it's
Right.
completely bootstrapped. So I had a pleasure I had an opportunity, or kind of, I was fortunate enough to
Hmm.
leave my job before I started InstaWP.
Hmm.
But I was doing my full time job when I was building Express Tech. Um, and it was a difficult decision to like leave your full time job and then start like fully focus on startup. But I think at that point, Express Tech grew at a point where I could leave that.
Okay.
And also, as I said, I was fortunate enough that because InstaWP got funded, and the rest is history.
Yeah. How big is this business, Express Tech, at this moment?
Express Tech, we do, I guess, about 30K to 40K, 40,000 per month.
Per month? Okay.
Um, and In terms of customers, I think combined all our plugins and everything together, we have about 300,000 email addresses in our mailing list.
Hmm.
Not obviously not everybody is customer, so I need to check that out.
Hmm.
And some of the plugins are growing really well. Some of them are stagnated.
Hmm.
So, like, there is one more challenge in the plugins for, right? You need to always reinvent, especially in the Gutenberg world,
Right.
where the whole game is changing now.
Correct.
Yep.
And this business is also not just WordPress plugins and themes, but it also has Shopify and other platforms, or just WordPress right
I
now?
should remove the Shopify word from the hero section because we have
Okay.
sold the Shopify apps now.
Okay.
So we are in WordPress, and we have a add-on for Google Workspace.
Makes sense. Got it.
Yep.
No, congratulations on building that business and that, as well as this one. You know, the numbers that you shared so far, they are really inspiring, and build something like that in a short time, especially on InstaWP, because you said 2 years, right? It has been since you started it.
Yeah, less than 2 years. Yeah.
Less than 2 years, yeah. So no, that's all amazing. Now let me ask you: is there anything else you wanted to add on the InstaWP before we move on to the next question?
No, please move on.
All right. So the next question is, with InstaWP, or maybe it might be applied in both, but let's specific to InstaWP.
Mhm.
What are the strategies and strategies that you use in order to get your first 100 customer with InstaWP?
Yeah. So the strategy, which, as I said, I'm not much of a marketer,
Hmm.
but what I have seen that a couple of things which have worked is obviously being active on social platforms. So, such as you can like join multiple Slack groups, Facebook groups, Twitter, now X, and and maybe LinkedIn. LinkedIn, not so much, right? I'm
Mhm.
not that active, but especially Twitter, right? Means that helped us a lot in the beginning. And then individual, uh, first of all, right, the product needs to be really well done, right? Means it needs to solve something, so that when you tell someone about it, people automatically get attracted to it. And then second thing is it should be easy to use, which was also perfect for us because the first iteration, you just can click on a button and then get a WordPress site. Right now, you need to actually register an account with us. And the other approach, I think, which it was mostly word of mouth in the beginning when people started sharing our stuff, and we launched it on, like, let's say, Product Hunt, and then I also tried to email our existing customers in Express because I had an audience there. We started writing blog posts.
What was the conversion from the existing customer when you do the email campaign?
It was not that much
Not that.
because because it created an awareness, however, but it was not like a highly converting because those were like plugin buyers, right? So if you were to introduce another plugin, maybe in like a adjacent niche, it would have been much better. But this was completely new platform. But at least it got some users, right? So I don't have exact count of where first 100 users came from, but these were some of the techniques which we used.
Makes sense. Let's talk about the product hunt, because I can see on your website here, you mentioned about the product hunt, product of the day. So you guys, let's talk about it. That not why, but how actually product hunt helped you in your growth, or anything related to product hunt that you want to share.
Sure. So product hunt, I've been always following it. So it was not new for me. And it was kind of a dream that I will launch on product hunt and it becomes like top three product of the day. And obviously that dream was never realized until InstaWP. I did launch products on product hunt before, but none of them got more than like 20 votes or something. But this time, when I launched, I think we had a database of about 5,000 users or something. And
5,000 users of InstaWP.
Of InstaWP.
Before you put the product in product hunt?
That is correct. Yeah. So we did not like launch right away when product hunt. So when I said for the first 100 users, so product hunt was not the factor for first 100 users. It was early on. I don't remember the exact number, but we had an audience already, so that we could warm them up on via email, and it was a proper preparation, right? I don't know if you have done product hunt before, or whoever is like watching this podcast or listening to it knows that there is a checklist where you should go through it, right? You have to launch at a certain time. You should have a video. You should have proper graphics. The first comment. I think there are a lot of resources online which will tell you how to launch in product hunt. And if you find like a proper what they call is hunter. So I found through my network one hunter, and I think that also helped with the first 100 votes. And then obviously we built kind of a momentum before we actually launched it. So all these factors come together in launch of a successful product hunt campaign. When we did that, I think we obviously received 5 times or I think 10 times the visitors we normally get on a day-to-day. And we got like amazing amount of inquiries and signups. I don't remember the exact number, but the growth from product hunt was we still get traffic from product hunt. So that is one more thing. And it establishes a social proof of some kind, right? Of the product. So that helps a lot.
Makes sense. And who are the people on a product hunt? Like for example, if you have a WordPress plugin or a WordPress business, what kind of customer avatar that we can expect from the product hunt?
Product hunt is usually for SaaS companies, right? If you have seen that. And generally these people are from everywhere. Means they can be a WordPresser, they may not be a WordPresser, you never know. But it's large enough so that you can target, and then it becomes like a channel for you. It becomes like a Facebook or any other channel for you where you will 100% get at least a niche amount of users for your company. But if your plugin is very specific plugin, right? So that may not be a product hunt candidate per se, but we were wide enough, right? We were just saying that here you go, click on this link, get a WordPress sign. So it was a wide enough kind of opportunity. But in case of very niche WordPress plugin, not so much.
Makes sense. So
I haven't seen like a lot of plugins go on top on Product Hunt.
right. But overall product hunt community, I feel like it might be more influencers, like people who actually talk about the deck, or they are the actual buyers. Like if you have to, yeah, what do you think
No,
about
there
that?
are a lot. No, there are a lot of buyers.
Oh yeah.
If they like the product, I have seen success stories where they've generated like 50K or 20K in 2 days after product hunt launch.
Okay.
Notion was one of very successful product hunt launches, right? So there are definitely early adopters and buyers there. But as I said, WordPress is, as you know, is a different kind of niche.
Yeah.
And especially the plugins, right? So I don't think putting a lot of effort in product hunt launch for a very specific plugin is going to be a good deal. It's better to build up audience elsewhere. I generally suggest go to like a Facebook group, multiple Facebook groups, and introduce yourself, right? And go to Reddit. There is a WordPress channel, WordPress subreddit on Reddit. You can post. So people actually love stories when you tell that this is something I built, and I found a problem, and then I solved this. So people actually love personal stories, right? And instead of you doing marketing, let the product do the marketing for you, right? So you can just talk about how you built it, what did you find, where. So the origin story is always very interesting to people.
Is there any other platform like Product Hunt that you would also recommend someone who is just starting out as a WordPress business that can benefit from having a presence?
InstaWP is going to be that platform.
Okay.
We already do basically showcase a lot of plugins through our dashboard, so people can actually discover these, and we are going to make it even more easier.
Okay.
We are going to make like a product hunt for WordPress products very, very soon, which becomes like, because right now it is a very closed program what we have, but the other one which I'm talking about is going to be more open. Anybody can post and upvote, and similar to what Product Hunt does.
Okay.
But unless that happens, I think the best place is WordPress repository, of course, where you can find a lot of organic users. It's not a launch per se, but you can find a lot of organic users if you play your cards right. Means you have to optimize the listing very well, right? So the title, the description, the tags, you will find several articles online how to optimize it, and then you can keep track of it. The other one will be other avenue will be to contact all these newsletters. For example, WP Weekly, and there are several others, WP Content, several India-based, US-based. I mean, they're all over. So you can contact their authors and request for an inclusion in one of their like newsletters, and you can prepare all these activities ahead of your launch, so that it becomes a launch, right? Otherwise,
Right.
there is no audience. If there's no audience, there is no launch.
Makes sense.
So I think so these are some of the good ideas.
Makes sense. No, those are really insightful. Thanks for sharing that, Vikas.
Okay guys, so if you're interested to check out how Multicollab works and how Multicollab can solve your problems or improve your content publishing workflow, you can go to our website and click on the Try Demo tab in the menu section. Then simply fill out your details and there you go. Now you have access to the demo environment where you can test all the amazing features that Multicollab has to offer.
Now let's move on to Black Friday. So we all pretty much like a lot of WordPress product businesses and just businesses in general, we all participated into Black Friday, and I know that you also participated in that. How was Black Friday for you? Any lessons, tips that you learned from that?
So this last Black Friday in 2022 was not that good for us. It was very like meh kind of activity. But so on top of that, we thought this is going to be the same, right? But we prepared for that nonetheless. We had a landing page, we had a coupon code, we reached out to several like roundups. By the way, roundups barely work. It's just a marketing activity which you do. Maybe you get some backlinks. I don't know. But the best channel was our own audience, and we reached out to them via multiple channels. So via our social, via email. So emails works best, even though the inbox is full. But it depends upon how good your copy is, and also people are actually expecting some kind of sale if they are like a warmed up user for a product, right? Excuse me. Now, we also put a banner inside the dashboard for free accounts that our sale is now live, blah, blah, blah. So all this preparation was done, and we sold about 400 plus licenses in a span of 2 days, which was great in terms of growth perspective, because most of these were like yearly plans. We gave, I think we gave 50% off on the yearly plans for the first year, and then renews at full price.
Regular price,
yeah. So, but there were like many takers, and in yearly plan you actually get 6 months of payment ahead, right? Because 50% off, and then come Black Friday 2024, you have that existing audience now built up to pay again at full price. And then add on top of that, you add another Black Friday audience. Let's say this year we sell about 600 plus licenses. It's going to be a great month, right? So I think Black Friday is something which a lot of product companies have figured out. I know companies like ConvertKit and all, they do amazing amount of sale on Black Friday. For us, fortunately, it worked this time. Not sure what will happen next time, but I've seen varied responses on Twitter. For some it worked, for some it didn't.
Yeah. A lot of people that I've been the WordPress entrepreneurs that I've been talking to, it wasn't a great Black Friday for them, and same for us too. Like Multicollab business dot store, other business dot store, it did really good. Multicollab not so good, and I think some of the learnings we also took it into that. One thing I think we noticed that you mentioned about the 50% off, right? So what's your, do you have any data on that? Whether like what's that discount percentage that I mean, of course, like the standard will be higher the better, right? But what is that sweet spot that you can rely on, or will be more confident on?
So we did a modeling on that actually.
Okay.
So if we were to offer 30% lifetime or 50% one time, right? Of course, 50% one time is going to win, right? Because next year, depending upon the churn rate, so we have like excellent churn rate. We do like 2 to 3% churn rate every month. And let's say it's a bit higher, right? Let's boost it to like 15% or 20%.
Yeah.
Because yearly plans in WordPress ecosystem, the cards are expired or whatever, right? We never know. And lot of businesses have moved on to another thing or whatever, right? We never know about that. So let's just pump it to 15-20%. But still, 50% on the first year was a good fit for us, rather than giving like a recurring 20-30% discount. Because recurring, I don't think you can go beyond 30%. Obviously, it depends upon margin. We are a SaaS company, so we have a recurring cost. We have our server costs. We have about 100 plus servers, which is like doing all the job in the back end for all these websites.
Right.
But then for a plugin company, I've seen like massive discounts from other plugin companies because they don't have like a huge recurring cost. Obviously, I'm not like discounting their work, but the cost of actually building the product and then maintaining part, I mean, the recurring cost is not that much for a plugin company. So you can go beyond that, right? It means you can actually offer 50% discount lifetime in case of plugins. And I've seen that happened. A lot of people did that. Yeah. Because see, the Black Friday mentality is that means they need to see some kind of huge number, right? That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Everybody is ready to like, means people have a mentality, not everybody, people have a mentality to take out their purse and basically buy something, right?
Yeah.
obviously the economy is not like that amazing right now. A lot of people were like reluctant to buy new stuff this time, which I saw online as well. That I'm not going to buy this, and I saw a number of tweets like that. But still, there is a high percentage of people who bought stuff. Yeah.
So last question I have related to Black Friday, and then we'll move on to the next one. You mentioned that 2022. So as of the recording of this podcast, this is 2024, and 50%, and the performance 600 licenses that you sold. We talked about the 2023 Black Friday, and
We
now
sold 400. Now we expect more this year.
okay. And so what about 2022? So 2022, did you say that it was not
It was not that good. So we sold about like 20 to 50 licenses as
right?
far as I
And what was the
remember.
percentage discount that you were offering at the same 50%?
We did offer 30%.
30%. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Got
So
it.
that might have helped.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to see, like, when, because we also, I think with Multicollab, we offered 30%, I think 35%, if I remember correctly. And I want to kind of like, that's kind of like I put down as one of the lessons too, that Black Friday, in order to gain the attention, I want to see whether this percentage also matters. That of course it matters, but like what's kind of sweet spots. So maybe I'll try next time.
It was a huge discussion before we actually planned. We were discussing for, I think, 1 week straight of the pricing and the coupon and what should we do about it. I think we are going to repeat the same thing this time. But I think one more thing which matters is you don't offer this kind of discount throughout the year.
Totally,
so it doesn't really matter anymore.
Special occasions, yeah. Great. No, thanks for sharing that, Vikas. Now let's talk about the next item, which is I saw this big news that Automatic invested into the seed round with InstaWP. Congratulations on that as well. I know it has been old news, but as we are talking about it, so if
it's still unreal for us, right? Means, we never expected Automatic or any company of that size will invest in a project. And I always talk to my peers and my close friends that I don't know if this phenomena is worldwide, but as a Southeast Asian, we always underestimate ourselves, right? Even though it's not about geography anymore, right? Means if you think what you think is what you become, is what I believe, right? If you think that you can achieve something, just go for it. Take a chance and do it. And that's what happened with us. Means we built a project, left my job before that, and I told my wife that I'm going to get funding for this. I don't know how, but we'll do that. Even though we have a very healthy business, but still want somebody large to back us so that we have we want to have. So remember, I wanted to have an impactful business, and having a company like Automatic gives us a lot of proof, right? A kind of a stamp that this company is legit, and go for it. And that's where all the popularity came into picture, right? Means Automatic has funded us. It was the news, and then obviously nobody cares about that anymore. A lot of people actually don't know about it. A lot of our customers, but initially that helped boost the popularity.
Makes sense. So what stage in your business you started to think about doing a seed round and looking for an external investor? Was it, let's say, a break-even that you were looking for, or how many customers you had? Like, is there any particular
stage? A very tiny business, so it was kind of a pre-seed round or a pre-revenue company. So we had a very tiny, minuscule MRR, right? It's not even like worthy telling it. So you can just say pre-revenue at that point. But we had built a nice MVP which works really well. We had very early success in terms of early adopters, and a lot of people on post status kind of talking about us. So that gave us visibility. And obviously, as I said, the product has to be really good.
Correct, of course. Are you at break even with the InstaWP? And if yes, then when did you hit in the length of your business?
We're not yet break even. We will hit the break even point very soon, though, this year. But our growth is going really well. So we grew about 300% in 2023.
Okay.
Obviously, early growth is always high in terms of percentages.
Right.
The same growth, I think we will be able to maintain the same amount of growth in 2024 as well, with a lot of things which is coming up. One of the major things which we are including now is like an inbuilt hosting service as well. So people were like deploying staging dev sites. Now they can actually one-click host them with InstaWP Live, we call it.
Makes sense.
It's going to launch by the end of this month.
Nice. No, yeah, 300% growth is amazing, especially, and I understand that, like, yeah, in the beginning the growth will be higher, but also it's very challenging too, right? Like growing the business in the beginning and just tapping into the completely.
Yeah. It's one of the most challenging and most rewarding. Sometimes I feel like, why did I even leave my full-time job, right? And then when I see how people's lives are changing by your startup, and this is applicable for all businesses, all startups, right?
Yeah.
When somebody is buying, like, let's say giving you $1, they might be earning somewhere $2 from that thing, right? They are getting something back. They're solving a problem. So that gives me like extra motivation every single day.
Makes sense. All right. Last question I have in regards to the automatic investment, and then we'll move on to more like a lightning round. So the question is, you mentioned that it was in terms of the, let's say, when your business is already doing a decent revenue, then it's easier, like multiples of profit, multiples of revenues. But when when the business is at that stage where it's not doing a significant revenue, how people do the valuation of the business? That, if there is anything that you want to share there.
Two things, right? So one is potential of the product.
Okay.
How big your product can be, let's say in 5 years, and it depends upon the investor as well, right? So if it's a private investor, they might be looking for an early exit, but for large VCs, it's a long-term play, right? So depends upon whom you target, but let's say in 5 years, how big you think your product can be, and that itself, thinking about that itself is going to be a huge challenge, right? Unless you are very clear on your product. Right. And early on, you never know where your product is going to be, how many pivots you're going to take, right?
Very true, yeah.
But you need to see a vision before they do, right? Whenever you're building a deck for investors, you're actually building a deck for yourself.
That's so you had to do the projection for the 5-year growth, or
we did for 2 years, but they will come to like a extrapolation of that, right? Means let's say your business is going to go to a 10 million ARR or the 1 million ARR, whatever that figure might be,
right,
can guide the growth, the investment and the valuation of the company. And the second thing which also helps is the industry which you are in. So if you are in a fintech world, if you are in a tool world, is it going to be a utility company? What exactly are you playing within the realm of, right? So that also guides, because then you can look around in the industry, what is the pre-seed round they're raising, and then you can also get guidance as a guidance value, because you don't have any revenue, right? So how, as you said, rightly said, how will you actually get to evaluation which works?
Makes sense. All right. So 2 quick questions, and then we'll bring this to the home, because the one is, do you read books? And if you read books, what is the one book that changed your life or had a significant impact in your life?
Recently, I read Obviously Awesome, which is like a positioning book, how to position your product well. I've been always meaning to learn marketing more officially. I've been learning marketing by doing it. So more like through theoretical books and all.
Okay.
One book. So I always.
So this Obviously Awesome is a marketing book, or that's not?
It's a marketing book.
Okay.
It is a marketing book, and it helped me a lot in InstaWP because we have a positioning problem. We had a positioning problem, not anymore though. And so that helped a lot. But I have been fond of reading books. I do not get that much time. When I was in college, I used to read a lot of self-help books. That actually changed my mind completely.
Hmm.
I think there was a book called How to Think Big.
Hmm.
I think that
It's
was an
classic.
amazing book.
Yeah.
It's a classic one, right?
Yeah.
And that actually completely changes your perspective on life, right?
Hmm.
With these kind of books, and then you go into spirituality.
Hmm.
That also changes a lot of perspective. So that may be another talk for a talk for another time. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, reading books is, I think, can be an amazing habit if somebody has it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned about spirituality, and yeah, that's kind of like one thing that in last few years, um, it helped me a lot personally and professionally. Sometimes, if we think, usually people think like, oh, spirituality is when you are about to retire, like in your
No,
50s or 60s. But it is not.
no,
Yeah, I read a lot of spirituality book, and it has helped me. And most importantly, I think helped me clarify my thinking, my focus, what matters in life, in life and work. A lot of different things. It cleared it out. It gave me so much clarity, and that clarity actually then I bring it to my business, and then it also helps to growing my business. So, yeah. So spirituality is not unproductive. It's very very productive
yeah.
topic and thing to focus on.
Yeah, it solves two birds or two targets with the same stone, right? It
Exactly.
solves your
Hmm.
future path, gives you a perspective on life, and also, as you said, gives you perspective on business, which is like amazing, which is much better than a self-help book. And
Yeah.
I think all these, I think every religion, or
Mm.
it goes beyond religion. I think
Mm.
spirituality. If you read all these great books, you
Mm.
get a lot of perspective. So as I said, it's a talk for another time.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, on your background, I can see some books, and one of the book has like this orange, black and white. Is it the obviously awesome? Because right now I'm looking at the
Yeah,
Amazon,
I think so.
and it
Yeah,
has the similar cover.
yeah.
Makes sense.
My next read would be 0 to 1. I
Okay.
think that's by Peter Thiel.
Mm. Okay.
So that's going to be an amazing read, I think.
Nice. All right. Last question. What was the big learning of 2023? If anything, one big thing that you learned in 2023, if you want to point it out.
One big thing is how to shift perspectives
Okay.
from engineering to marketing is what I'm learning and still learning. And so building a product only goes like halfway, means gives you early interest and all. But
Mm.
so we already have reached like 1,500 customers with InstaWP paying customers,
Mm.
and we have about 25,000 free users on the platform.
Mm.
So it becomes like a very, very challenging. It's a challenge, right, to
Yeah.
convert free to paid users. And
Mm.
so a product goes. Obviously, product is a strong suite for you for yourself. For some people, it can be marketing, right? But
Mm.
if you learn like if you cross pollinate and go to the other world, and then your thinking completely changes, right?
Mm.
You when you build product for yourself, but
Yeah.
when you learn marketing, you build product for others. So
Mm.
that is an amazing perspective which I've got.
It
And
is.
I've told my team, let's I think 6 months ago, I told my team, let's redo the roadmap, only build what our customers are looking for, right?
Mm.
Because we now have kind of a direction where we want to go, a general direction.
Makes sense.
So we don't need to build a feature which we think is important. We
Mm.
should build something which people think it's important. So
Yeah.
surveys, talking to your customers, all
Mm.
these things start to play in picture, right? Your engineers start to think about that, because they have no um, they don't have to think in that way, right? But if you give
Mm.
them that perspective, they also start shift their little bit, right? And then they give you suggestions.
Yeah.
And so if it is a customer focused, marketing focused company, I think it goes a long way.
Makes sense. Great. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Vikas. And with that being said, now we are actually ready to wrap it up. Those who are listening and watching this, go ahead and check out InstaWP if you want to follow Vikas, the work. Vikas, your social media handles you want to mention?
Yeah, so I'm very active on Twitter, X, so which is Vikas Programmer, and yeah, LinkedIn just by name, Vikas Singhal.
Nice. I like how you kept the programmer in your handle,
Yeah, it's
even though
something which
you like buying plugins, not building them.
yeah, I learned buying plugins
Yeah,
before I was building.
yeah.
So, but I'm always at heart, I'm always a programmer.
Me too. Yeah. All right. There are a lot of notes I took here, and also there are a couple of points that I want to talk about a little bit more in detail. So I'll reach out to you later on, and let's schedule something so we can continue discussing some of
100%.
those items.
This was
But
amazing.
yeah, and everyone, we will put everything that we discussed today, some of the books and some of the tools and the blogs that Vikas mentioned, I mentioned on the show notes. So once you finish listening and watching this, check out the show notes, and that's where you will find all the resources and the ways to connect with Vikas and me. So thanks for listening, and yeah, have an awesome day. Thanks, Vikas.
Thanks, Anil, for having me.
Yeah, you take care. Okay, bye bye.
Okay guys, so thank you for watching. Now if you are interested and would like to try this out for yourself, we offer a 30-day free trial of our Pro plan where you can test all the Multicollab features. So for this, all you have to do is click on the link in the description below, and this will bring you to this page, and under the Pro heading, simply click on this button here. Now simply enter a few details and that's it. You're ready to enjoy the Pro version of Multicollab for free for 30 days. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.